In a major political bombshell that has sent shockwaves rippling across Africa and beyond, Senegal is in uproar after President Bassirou Diomaye Faye, the man who promised to wage war on corruption, has exempted himself from a brand new anti-corruption law that he himself introduced. For a leader who rode to power on a wave of public trust and reformist zeal, this move feels, to many, like a thunderclap on a sunny day. How does one sell a vision of transparency to the people, only to slam the door on their ability to see inside the presidential vault? Is this a brave reform with one curious flaw, or the beginning of a classic African political bait and switch? The law in question is actually an amendment to Senegal's 2014 Asset Declaration Bill, originally crafted to keep the nation's top officials financially accountable. Until now, it only applied to a limited group: senior officials such as the President of the National Assembly, the Prime Minister, ministers, and public accountants managing funds exceeding 1 billion CFA francs, about $1.7 million. But under the new proposal, the net is cast much wider. Prosecutors, investigating judges, local government heads, auditors, and directors of public companies will all have to declare their assets both at the start and at the end of their tenure. Even the reporting threshold for public budget managers will drop from 1 billion CFA francs to 500 million, about $890,000, potentially pulling far more officials into the accountability spotlight. The message? No more hiding behind fat bank balances and shadowy investments. Or at least, that's how it looked, until the fine print emerged. The president himself, the man introducing the amendment, is not bound by it. The head of state will still only be required to declare his assets once, at the start of his term, as dictated by the Constitution. This means the sweeping new rules that would force countless officials to lay their finances bare from start to finish won't touch the very top of Senegal's political hierarchy. It's no wonder jaws are dropping from Dakar to Dar es Salaam. Many Senegalese initially welcomed the move, seeing it as a fresh chapter in the country's fight against corruption. After all, Faye had been elected on promises of restoring financial integrity to a nation shaken by the revelation that his predecessor, Macky Sall, had left billions of dollars in hidden debt. Back in February 2024, a public audit exposed that Senegal's actual debt ratio by the end of 2023 was closer to 100% of GDP, not the 74% previously reported. The fallout was severe. The IMF froze funding, credit ratings plunged, and the stench of mismanagement clung to the Sall administration like a stubborn stain. Faye's quick arrest of 5 former ministers had seemed like a decisive step toward cleansing the system. But now, for critics, this latest twist feels like a clean white shirt with a suspicious coffee blotch right in the middle. Opposition voices are wasting no time. Dada Wade of the Senegalese Democratic Party warned that transparency starts at the very top. And if the president is excluded, the whole effort risks looking hollow. For many in the opposition, this exemption reeks of double standards. How can the president ask others to play by strict new rules if he won't submit himself to the same scrutiny? Is this not the very definition of rules for thee, but not for me? Even some ruling party supporters seem uneasy, though MP Amadou Baye defended the move by pointing out that the Constitution takes precedence, making this a special law of exception. But to the public, constitutional technicalities often sound like political excuses, and excuses don't pay the price of eroded trust. And here's where the story widens beyond Senegal's borders, because the continent has seen this movie before. Across Africa, corruption scandals involving public officials have been depressingly common. Ghana has wrestled with procurement fraud and high-profile embezzlement cases. Nigeria's infamous missing billions in oil revenue still haunts its reputation. Kenya's government has been dogged by persistent graft scandals in health, infrastructure, and procurement. South Africa is still mopping up the fallout from the Zuma-era state capture saga, and Senegal itself has had its share of questionable dealings long before Macky Sall's debt revelations. The script is familiar. The public clamors for transparency. Laws are drafted to clamp down on corruption, and then somehow the highest office in the land stays conveniently outside the net. Is it incompetence, legal loopholes, or a calculated tactic to protect presidential power? What makes this particularly unsettling is the psychology of it. Corruption laws that exclude the president send a subtle but powerful message that the leader is not just first among equals, but above equals entirely. In many African states, this mindset has bred a culture where leaders escape scrutiny, accountability is selective, and anti-corruption drives become tools for sidelining political rivals rather than true reform. Is Senegal's new law destined to join that list, remembered less for its ambition and more for its glaring presidential escape clause? The Pan-African context cannot be ignored. Across the continent, citizens are growing impatient with leaders who promise new dawns, but deliver familiar shadows. Transparency is not just about ledgers and bank accounts. It's about trust, legitimacy, and the moral authority to lead. If President Faye's law demands that judges, auditors, and ministers open their financial doors, why not the president's own? Why should the captain be the only one whose cabin stays locked when the whole ship is being searched for contraband? Senegal's people are not naive. They know that corruption is not wiped out with a single law or a few headline arrests. They also know that leadership by example is one of the most powerful tools in politics. If Faye truly wants to make a clean break from the shadowy dealings of past administrations, exempting himself from the very rules he champions is a strange way to begin. Perhaps it is just a constitutional quirk, a technical oversight that can be fixed, or perhaps, as some fear, it's the first crack in the glass of his reformist image. One thing is certain. Africa is watching, and so is the world. Senegal has long been regarded as one of West Africa's more stable democracies, and its political choices carry weight beyond its borders. This moment will be remembered either as the awkward start of a genuine cleanup or as the first warning sign that things are not so different after all. History shows us that when leaders carve themselves out of accountability measures, the slope gets slippery very fast. Will Faye's presidency follow the same tired path we've seen in Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, and beyond? Or will this controversy push him to prove that he really is the reformer he claims to be? For now, the law stands, the exemption stands, and the debate rages on. As with so many chapters in Africa's ongoing struggle against corruption, the ending has yet to be written. The people of Senegal, and indeed the continent, will be watching closely to see whether this is the bold anti-graft crusade they were promised, or just another political performance with the stars safely out of reach of the spotlight. In the end, perhaps it's best to leave it to the court of public opinion to decide, is this reform or just another case of power protecting itself? Your perspective matters. What do you make of Senegal's President Bassirou Diomaye Faye exempting himself from his new anti-corruption law? Share your thoughts and insights in the comments section below. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to the New Africa channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our informative future videos. Stay informed, stay engaged, and thank you for watching.